In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some upcoming severe weather. Yesterday, on March 31st, was one of the worst severe weather outbreaks I have ever seen take place. Absolutely devastating, high-risk event, and honestly, very extreme tornado outbreak for portions of many different states, including Iowa, Arkansas. Some, really damaging tornadoes took place. It was a super unfortunate thing. We're hoping that that is the last of that type of outbreak for this year, obviously. Now, today, we're not out of the water yet. We're just going to move forward with this, and there is a bit of a threat, especially I'm eyeballing this region here, actually, so upstate New York, eastern Pennsylvania, into portions of New Jersey for potential tornadic activity, but also all along this activity here. And we'll take a look at the Storm Prediction Center at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that if you're really interested. But up and down the East Coast where thunderstorms are hitting, there is a very slight risk of tornadoes. But again, I am watching particularly this region here of kind of southern New York, eastern Pennsylvania, and then New Jersey. We're watching that very closely. There is a slight risk of severe weather for these areas. And I think there could be an upgrade to an enhanced. That would not surprise me at all for those areas in particular. So we're watching for that, as this is obviously the same exact storm that caused all of that activity yesterday. We're hoping that obviously it's nothing similar. As we reach all the way towards Monday, April 3rd, just a few days from now, we see a strong 987 millibar low pressure center taking place, and this storm is on almost the exact same trajectory as our storm that just happened. It moved in the same way, and it's going to move up the same way, and it's going to cause very, very similar impacts here. As we see, this moves into eastern Nebraska as a 979 millibar low pressure center. The main difference here that I'm seeing with this storm as compared to the storm before it is just this has much more wintry activity along it. As you can see, very, very heavy snowfall. Blizzard conditions likely, as this is an extremely strong low, obviously indicating that winds are definitely a factor here. So the heavy snowfall with the winds would definitely bring blizzard conditions with this, and that's by Tuesday afternoon we're seeing that. And also, I want you to note we already have this kind of cold front look here, and then the warm front right here. We can see it extending all the way to the East Coast, so we see surging warm air by early to midweek here for the entire eastern half of the country, I would say. As we reach towards Wednesday, overnight Tuesday into Wednesday is when things get the worst, in my opinion. We see significant severe weather likely taking place here for the day, or the night, again, the 4th into the 5th. That's Tuesday into Wednesday. We're watching extremely closely for this. And as we reach overnight, we see this becomes highly convective. And what I mean by that is that this is just filled with precipitation. There is no, quiet areas here along this cold front. This is just complete activity along this entire frontal boundary. And this is just slamming through, and it actually continues to expand as we reach early into Wednesday. We see this area of potential severe weather and thunderstorms is getting larger and larger here. So this is for the day on Wednesday. Would not be surprised to see more severe weather then. And as we reach Thursday during the day here, Thursday the 6th into Friday the 7th, I would not be surprised if we have another smaller follow-up severe weather event here for the East Coast and even the Gulf Coast here. Following up that more major day, which is in all likelihood going to be at least an enhanced risk of severe weather, possibly more. We need to watch that extremely closely. Now, as we see what ends up happening with this jet stream pattern, is we get this kind of ridge in the west and then a little bit of a trough here in the east. Things are getting a little colder, and this type of a pattern usually quiets down the severe weather when we have this major trough here across the central and eastern United States. And we're seeing kind of these nor'easter type storms that you're going to see in a minute that want to kind of track this way. This is all very good news and is probably going to cause a big quiet down for at least a period of April here, because we see this low right here. There is some precipitation nearby it, but likely, again, not causing any severe weather by any means, just probably heavy showers and just consistent rainfall. You can see this does want to become a snowstorm perhaps, so there's probably more chance at snowfall than thunderstorms here in this kind of 7th through 11th time frame here of April. We're gonna have to watch and see, but look, even by the end of the model run here that we're taking a look at, we still have this significant positive PNA pattern here with a ridge in the west here. And then this trough here, kind of like a double dip trough here, as you can see, taking place. Very, very interesting stuff. Now, as we take a look at this total precipitation, we do see one storm taking this track here, our major storm, with that severe weather underneath it. But what we end up seeing is kind of these more nor'easter type storms that also cause very high amounts of precipitation as well. So that's the two main storm tracks over the next 10 days. Total snowfall here really tells the full story. We're really not going to pay too much attention to this because it is very far out and very far-fetched. Not to say that it's impossible, but there's the slim possibility of a potential snowstorm from a nor'easter as we head later into the pattern, but we're going to continue to track that over the coming days. I don't want to pay too much mind to that right now, but really this is the main concern here, is this blizzard that takes place here with this very strong low that's going to be located in these areas here moving along. And as you can see, this brings feet of snowfall. Those pastel blues are going to be 2 to 3 feet. In the pinks, we're seeing about 1 foot to 2 feet. And then we even start to see it turn pink within those blues. And that's where we're taking a look at about maybe 3+ feet. So definitely a very, very substantial major snowstorm in the works there for the upper Midwest and northern plains. And we're going to be watching this extremely closely over the coming days to see if that trends in a heavier direction, which would be insane to think about, but we can't rule that out as a possibility. We really can't at this point. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is move on and take a look at the Storm Prediction Center for you guys so we can really deep dive into these upcoming severe weather threats. Now, starting things out, we're taking a look at today, and as you can see in these lighter green areas, we do have general thunderstorm risks. So for all of these areas here, that is where we expect general thunderstorms. Severe weather cannot be ruled out, but that is what we expect. We don't expect severe weather. We do anticipate thunderstorms to be possible. However, it becomes kind of severe once we look at these darker green areas here. That's our marginal risk area. We call that level 1. You might have heard that. And that is where we expect isolated severe weather reports to come in with these thunderstorms that can be a little bit worse in these areas as well. That is the expectations. And then we have these 2 slight risk areas here, one in the northeast and mid-Atlantic, and then one down here for the southeast. I just want to name off a couple areas in these particular threats. And first off, all the way from Cleveland and Akron, all the way into Pittsburgh, Erie, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany there. We can see all of these areas included. Hartford, Connecticut there. Providence, Rhode Island is included there. So a little bit of a rare New England severe weather risk here happening. New York City obviously is in there. Scranton, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, they're also included. Dover, Delaware. All of these areas we do anticipate a slight risk of severe weather. Again, I am personally eyeballing an area something like this as kind of an area to really watch for a potential upgrade here. Now that is obviously not official information, but that's just what I particularly think that could be an area that they consider upgrading, only because there is a significant amount of clearing happening right now really rapidly, and once that sun breaks through and we see the humidity increase, the heat increase, that could go ahead and uptick that risk of severe weather. So we're going to be watching for that really, really closely. As we work our way down to the southeast too, we do see that there is some larger areas in here as well. Another Albany there in Georgia. So Albany, Georgia, I didn't even know that existed. Valdosta there, I think that's how you say that. Dothan there in southern Alabama, Enterprise as well. Those are some areas that we're watching really closely for that slight risk of severe weather. Also, we see Savannah, Georgia as a larger area in there, and then also Charleston, South Carolina. I've vacationed to both these areas, and I particularly love both of these historic southeast cities. Absolutely stunning if you've never made a trip down there to either of these two beautiful cities. But they hold kind of really, really special places in my heart, actually. I really enjoyed going there as a child, and I've gone there more recently, actually. We went to Charleston, actually Savannah, I think we went this year, or last year, we went to Savannah last fall, me and my girlfriend. It was an absolutely beautiful trip. So if you live there, thanks for having such a beautiful city. I hope all goes well with this severe weather threat today. I'm going to go ahead and put on screen that day 4 outlook. This is going to be an extended outlook here. So we're going to go ahead and do this a little bit unprofessional, but you know, that's just how we do it, guys. As we can see, We have this yellow area here. They work with percentages only, not the categories here in the long range. I bet, in the future, they're going to start adding the categories in the long range because I don't see why they wouldn't. But as you can see, this yellow area includes Milwaukee, a bit of Chicago, I would say downtown Chicago, Fort Wayne there, Indianapolis, Louisville, they're in Kentucky, Memphis, Tennessee, Little Rock, Arkansas. These areas are included in this, and that yellow area translates to a slight risk approximately. The percentages match up to a slight risk. So tomorrow it's going to be a day 3. We'll take another look at it tomorrow, and we'll actually get to see what the categories are, but I bet all of these areas are going to be a slight risk. And then these areas in the orange: St. Louis, Kansas City, Davenport there, Chicago, kind of the outlying suburbs there, Des Moines there. Let's see if there's any other areas. Springfield, Fort Smith. These areas here are going to be at least an enhanced is the expectation here. This orange area, that translates to a level 3 enhanced risk, approximately those percentages. But sometimes once it moves from day 4 extended range into the day 3 categorical risk, they do switch things up quite a bit sometimes in those instances. But we can anticipate a slight risk in these yellow areas and enhanced risk in these orange areas. But again, tomorrow's video, we are going to be updating this and showing you guys. So be sure to check that out. You can subscribe for daily uploads because we do upload every single day. Also, be sure to hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to also like the video and leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.